So, Udai, I'm interested in your opinion as to whether you see a future for a consortium like this.
I do actually. So I think blockchain is quite an interesting technology and a problem solver built on trust with different parties. So I do think a consortium is actually the best way where a solution might actually come across. I think also historically, a lot of people are trying to find problems that work for them and not for the entire ecosystem. And I think blockchain is certainly an ecosystem problem. So I think this is a great place to get the different parties, both technology and industry and whoever else might be required to kind of drive that.
Okay, and do you see the working party approach, particularly the one focused on the grocery sector, as being useful in achieving that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's probably fair to say that every other grocer is looking at blockchain as a way to address some of their problems, or to add value, or to get more information and insight so that they can improve their customer proposition in some way, shape or form. So I think it is interesting to see their efforts. It hasn't been quite fruitful as expected and anticipated out of the technology. So I think it'll be a great place for a neutral party and somebody with a strong technology background to bring the parties together and have that conversation. And I think me personally, and I think a lot of people in the industry would be quite keen to contribute to what could be an industry problem-solving proposition.
Nice. And I agree, there's a hype cycle to these things, right? And perhaps there's peaks and troughs involved in that. But do you see more than a pure blockchain answer to the question? There's an array of emerging technologies.
Yes.
That come together.
That's a good question, right? So I'm quite close to technology. I speak to a lot of startups and established companies about a lot of technologies, and blockchain is definitely on one of the top ones. But it's fair to say it's certainly not the only one which can solve the problem. I think what's really interesting is blockchain's more and more evolving and spreading into areas like AI. It's spreading into areas where the combination of IoT, where you combine a real physical measurement of a temperature or a process or a scan, and then imprint it on a blockchain ledger. I think the combination of technologies is actually quite interesting. Some of the problems can be individually solved by technology, but I think the combination of the different technologies bring a completely different nuance and a use case resolution. And I think blockchain is certainly great because of its ability from an immutability perspective, which none of the other technologies can provide or prove in a consistent manner. So I guess the short answer to the question is yes, but it's certainly not the only one, and it may not be a blockchain-only solution which might win.
But in the role of blockchain in particular, there's a lot of buzz around that, a lot of interest in where it fits. But it's not necessarily the answer to everything. There are certain areas where perhaps it's more relevant than others.
Yeah, absolutely. I think blockchain, I do have some personal criticisms that I'm quite open about, which is it's sometimes being branded, especially by younger companies and startups who hasn't probably been exposed to the full length and the complexity of the global supply chain, that they can solve almost any problem because it can have the data and it can prove the data. But I think the industry problems are much bigger than just what blockchain can solve. I think they are trust related, they are regulatory related, they're contractual related. They're collaboration related, and maybe they are things that are much broader than just what a technology it is, right? I think unless the parties are invested in technology, it wouldn't be able to solve the problem. It could be the end, but it's certainly not the only thing which will solve the problem. And I think there's certainly a lot of hype, at least as of today and as of this year. But it's good to see some individual use cases who have gone the extra length of solving the problem. It's certainly not a generic solution for everything as of yet. Me personally, I'm waiting to see which one's winning and which model's winning, and I'm conscious that there's not a common solution for everything as of yet.
But areas such as that sort of enterprise scalability might be high on your priorities.
Absolutely right.
I think. Of your business, right?
Yeah, absolutely right. I think we struggle to deal with even the volume of data and the volume of transactions within our supply chain, and how we can get visibility of it at the granularity that we want. And I think things like blockchain need to work at least at that scale to begin with for an organization like us to be able to at least tap into that, right? I think that's the bare minimum entry point, which is deal with the volume of the data that we deal with, and with our supply chains that we deal with. I think it is quite interesting to see that blockchain is a problem, but I think blockchain also brings some complexities that needs to be carefully thought about when it scales up. If the scalability is a problem, then that will completely undermine and the viability of the solution. So I think without a doubt, everything that we're looking at is driven by what's the scale, what's the current scale, what's the future scale, and how it evolves, and it's no different for blockchain.